That was a very weird go.
That was a very drawn out go.
We've got to think of another conversation now, haven't we?
Yeah, because you fucked up the last one.
Just disappeared, didn't it?
Well, I've still got my fair part of it, but you ended up just leaving me on my ones while we were doing it.
To be honest, you could have just kept on talking. I mean, I doubt you would have noticed.
I noticed, okay, when you didn't respond to me saying, well, it's not like we care anyway.
Yeah.
You always have some sort of snide response.
Oh, me? Snide?
Yeah, about everything.
I'm not snide about anything.
You're snide, you're stuck up, you're snobbish.
Oh, so that's you. That is so you.
I've earned the right to be snobbish.
Have you?
No, I haven't.
All right.
Anyway, what have you been up to since we last did this?
Well, I think I slept for a little while.
In a whole week, you only slept a little bit, though.
Yeah, just a tiny bit, you know.
You having sleeping problems, then?
No, it's just...
You must do if you have only slept a little bit.
It's just my superhuman strength, you know.
Of not sleeping.
Yeah.
I thought that was me.
I don't know, yeah. How much did you sleep?
About 8 hours since the last time we've done this.
Wow. That is good going. I'm surprised. You've got a lot of energy.
Yeah, you can't see me. I'm yawning constantly.
And it sounds like you're running around the room and stuff like that.
Yeah, I definitely always do
It
that.
sounds like you've already been for a jog this morning.
Last time I went jogging, it was for a bus. But to be honest, I don't even run for buses. I'm like, it's not that important. I'll get the next one.
Yeah, you look a bit too desperate as well.
Yeah. How important is it that you get to a place that you need to run for a bus?
Yeah. In general, it's not.
And also, if it's that important, you would have left earlier anyway.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't need to run for a bus.
Even when I'm late, I wouldn't tend to run for the bus.
Yeah, I'm not often late, but I don't really run for a bus.
Well, this has been fascinating, isn't
The riveting conversations we've been having.
it? I know. I'm sure the listeners really want to know about our bus, kind of, you know.
Yeah, but speaking of running, I mean, the topic that we're going to talk about today involves someone running a lot.
It does.
It really does.
So that's a rather quick segue.
As far as segues go, this has been the easiest one we've gotten to.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about something else? Because I just figured we had nothing to talk about.
Yeah, we could do. I'm just thinking it's only 3 minutes in, so
True.
that is rather quick.
We can't plan these things. So they just happen.
Yeah, we're very spontaneous on this podcast.
Oh, yeah, we're amazingly spontaneous.
Yeah.
And really the life of a party.
Yeah, that's just the way we are, you know. Just can't help it, can we?
No, I can't help that I'm like a G that will light your fire. I don't know what I'm saying.
He's quoting Take That songs now.
I think so.
Come on, just
Really light
go away.
my fire. Your love is my only desire.
You got a problem?
No shit.
You have.
There's someone banging in like the neighbour's house.
Whose house?
The neighbour's house. There's some banging going on.
Ah, what they did?
I don't know, but I can see it being picked up on my garage band. I got a bit distracted. It's like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's that.
I wonder what they're up to.
I don't know, probably building shit, right? That's usually what happens when banging's involved.
It's either it's either building or building a child.
I figured you were going to say that.
I was trying to be polite about it, though.
Banging each other's brains out. But it feels like banging against a wall.
Yeah.
But then again, also it could lead to a
Beds
child.
can do that.
True.
Yeah, I like how I'm trying to be polite and yours is just banging the brains out of each other.
Oh, well, if you hadn't noticed, I've only had 8 hours sleep for the past week. So I'm a bit tired, Matt.
So that means you just go straight for the rude stuff, Tarman.
Yeah, I can't give myself a mask.
Yeah.
I am just rude. I'm a rude individual.
It's disgraceful if you ask me.
Yeah. I always look for the barrel of laughs. Speaking of barrels, how many more segues?
Oh, your segues are on fire today, Tarman. Wow.
Okay, now we just need to bring up a Bear segue and a Brook segue.
I might go on TV and bear rule one day. Does that make sense?
Well, I was saying it's talking about innuendo, so maybe that makes sense.
Yeah. And what was the other one about a brick, did you say? Brook.
How the hell are you going to do that one?
Did you watch Brookside when that was on?
How did that have anything to do with what we were saying.
Got no idea, but I'm just trying to get Brooke in there.
Speaking of Brookside, actually, I didn't really watch it because I was a bit too young, but I know about a storyline they had where they buried someone under the concrete patio.
Ah, yes.
Someone had been murdered and buried under a concrete patio.
Something similar happened in a story we know about, don't they?
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought this was all natural commentary that we were having.
Yeah, it's not like we're deliberately trying to get to a story, is it? You know.
Oh, why would we do that? We're natural storytellers. We don't have to force anything.
Yeah. We don't rely on the outside world for, our entertainment.
We do rely on the outro world for the outro world. Outside world for certain things, Matt.
Like what?
Like the intro music.
Oh, yeah.
Play it here.
Welcome to the Brooks Deduction Podcast, where we talk about stuff.
Thank you.
Is it done?
Yeah, I think so.
I hate that intro music. Interrupts my, spontaneity.
Well, we have to put it in at some point.
Yeah. Put it in at the end.
You know, on Netflix, they have the TV show called the OA. Sorry, not AO.
Yeah.
OA. There was one episode, the intro music sequence happened about 10 minutes to the end.
Really?
Yeah. Like, when it got to that, I completely forgot that they hadn't done it, and I was like, what the fuck?
That's odd.
Yeah, they literally put it in wherever they feel like it.
That does kind of feel like they kind of forgot about it and then thought, oh, better add it in somewhere.
Yeah, like episodes that you and Chris do together. 20 minutes in, that's the only time I can find a place to put the intro music in.
What you can't hear is me screaming intro music. It's the microphone fails to pick it up for some reason.
And bullshit. Bullshit.
It is always with Chris, though.
It is always with Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, purely because when you're with me, I remember to do the intro music. So technically, I'm the only one that remembers to do the intro music.
I remember it sometimes, but it's the problem with Chris is he starts going on about something, and I start going where he's going. And he starts before I get a chance to get in there.
Yeah, bullshit.
It's true. It's true.
Bullshit. You're both
terrible. I'm just going to blame it on Chris because he's the person that we all hate at the moment. So.
Yeah, because he's the failure.
That's a bit harsh. I wouldn't call him a failure.
Failure.
He's challenged, I'll admit that. Sorry, Chris, if you're listening.
Mediocrity is always challenged. Is it mediocrity or mediocrity?
Mediocrity, I think.
Yeah.
Although you might be able to have both, so it might not matter at all.
Maybe I'm mediocre because I don't know.
I'd go along with that.
Okay. So, what are we talking about this week?
Oh, the Bear Brook murders, or the Allenstown 4.
I think it's more widely known as the Bear Brook murders.
Yeah. And it's very, very mysterious, isn't it?
It's so mysterious that you want to talk all about it, and I have to sit here quietly.
No, you're gonna collaborate with me on this one for sure. We'll just give you a bit of brief background first, then we'll properly go into it. So,
sure.
The Bear Brook murders refers to the murder of 4 unidentified females. 2 of them were discovered in 1985 in a barrel.
Yeah, November the 10th.
November the 10th, yeah, they'd been dismembered, hadn't they, if I remember rightly?
And wrapped in plastic.
Yes. Possibly in some kind of garbage bag, but they couldn't tell because I think it must have degraded, I guess.
I also read somewhere that they were bound in twine, which I don't really get because they would have been chopped up.
Yeah, the actual bodies themselves, maybe the bags might have been.
Maybe.
I heard it was electrical wire, and that's important for later on when we start getting into things. Oh, and the other 2 were discovered in 2000, so there's quite a big time difference between the discoveries. They're both discovered at the same place. In fact, the bodies discovered in 2000, I think, were discovered not too far away from where the first 2 bodies were discovered.
Let's talk about the first set of bodies first. The first 2 bodies that were found in the first 55-gallon drum in 1985 were that of an adult woman who's estimated to be about 22 to 33 years old, and also a small child who could have been anywhere from 5 to 11 years old.
Yeah.
And like we said before, they're wrapped in plastic. The second set of bodies was 2 young children. One could have been as young as 1 to 3 years old, and the other one was about 2 to 4 years old. But then again, they were also wrapped in plastic.
Yeah. Identification was made difficult because all 4 bodies were partially or, I think, completely skeletonized, weren't they?
I don't think they were completely skeletonized. And first and second of all, skeletonized isn't a word, I don't think.
Skeletonization, that's what I saw.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't think they were, like, completely skeletonized. It's just one of the main reasons that they had trouble identifying the bodies is because they don't actually think they were reported missing.
Yeah.
So they did cross-reference through missing persons databases and stuff, and they came up empty. I mean, there was a few near misses. The first set of bodies, they thought that they might have been Grace Riap and her 5-year-old daughter Gracie.
Ooh.
But dental records prove that they weren't.
Yeah.
There were other people that they thought that the missing people were, but I can't find the name because I've got like about 15,000 sheets in front of me. Let's just take me at my word. There were other people that the police thought it was, but it wasn't them.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere there's at least like 10 people they ruled out quite early who...
Yeah. Oh, Denise Bowden. They also thought that she was one of the victims, but apparently she's not.
She's not the adult woman.
No, she's not.
Even though she fits the kind of age, the lower end of the age of the woman, but it's not her.
Yeah.
And she's important later on.
She is important later on. They did determine that the adult female woman could have been a Native American woman, whereas the children, they think they're...
Or of descent.
Or of descent. Whereas the children, they think they're white children. But it's hard to determine that, obviously, because they're dead and partially, rotting away.
Yeah. I think that there's been reconstructions done by the National Centre for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yeah, don't you find those reconstructions really creepy?
I didn't actually.
I thought they're really creepy looking.
Kind of made me feel a bit sad because I thought, nice looking children, not ugly little fuckers. So
maybe that's what the killer thought.
It did make me sad because they're 3 little kids basically. It's a bit sad, this one, in a way.
Through DNA analysis, they linked the woman to the oldest child, which was found in the initial drum with her, and the youngest child, the one that was 1 to 3 years old.
Yeah.
But the middle child didn't have any familial link to any of the others.
Yeah, the older woman is maternally related, but they can't determine exactly how. So
yeah, it could be mother, it could be sister.
Or even
not sister,
aunt.
sorry, aunt, yeah.
Yeah, oh, well, I think did someone say it could be sister? Could have been the same mother they all had.
I think sister would be different DNA pattern, whereas mother and a sister, they would have a very similar one because they have the same genetic makeup. If they both, the mother and the sister.
Mm.
Well, the 2 sisters had the same parents, both mum and dad. This is very confusing now. It's even confusing me.
Yeah.
But they'd still have the same genes, whereas like a sister, I think it would be different because they'll have part of the father's genetic makeup as well. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But that's what
I don't know about DNA, but yeah. So what's interesting is clearly those 3 have got some kind of connection, and I think they believe they lived together for most of their lives, pretty much.
Which were short. To be frank.
There's no even clear kind of idea when they died, really.
They think it was from 1980 to 1984.
Well, I've got as early as 77.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I've got so many different sheets of paper.
Yeah, there's no clear idea when they died, apart from that time frame. So yeah, they think the 2 that were found in the barrel in 2000 died at a similar time to the others. So,
yeah, because of the level of decomposition and, the DNA matches.
I don't know. Should we start with the discovery of the victims, or?
Well, they were discovered by hunters. I mean, how much more can we say?
Yeah, and it's Bear Brook Park in Annestown.
Oh, yeah, probably should have said that, in New Hampshire.
Yeah, New Hampshire. Yeah, I think we've done all that. I think we described a little bit about the girls, didn't we? They all had quite poor dental work, I noticed as well.
I thought they were lacking dental work. That was the problem.
No.
They didn't have any fillings or anything like that.
No, the adult woman had at least 3 fillings.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the children.
But they all had pretty poor dental health, from what I understand, which, as some people suggested, means they probably had quite a transient lifestyle.
Or they were just poor, because in America, dentistry costs a bomb.
Yeah, possibly, but some people believe it's more the transient lifestyle. Girl who's between 5 and 11 had a crooked front tooth, and she even had earrings, apparently. That's got nothing to do with teeth, but It's quite young for 5 to 11, isn't it?
Earring? No.
I read she had an earring somewhere.
No, I mean, it's not quite young.
Isn't it?
No, it depends on the families, but a lot of girls can get it when they're first born. I got mine when I was about 4 or 5.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not that young.
I've never had an earring at 5.
You've just never had an earring, Matt.
You make me sound like I'm not normal. Frankly,
You're not.
I think I'm the normal one here.
Yeah, whatever. Before we move on, I think it's a good idea to say that the second barrel that was found in the year 2000 was just off the trail of a mobile park, as in like a caravan park. And I will get to that later.
Yeah, it's quite important later on.
Yeah.
I think the 5 to 11-year-old, she had signs of pneumonia, didn't she, as well? So
I don't know. Maybe. It's probably written somewhere here. That's the thing. I should really just read one web page rather than trying to decipher about 1,000.
Yeah, they all seem to have gaps in their teeth as well.
Maybe they just didn't take care of themselves.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a common thing from where like they come from though, because I've heard there's stuff like some parts of America they do have gaps in their teeth.
Well, I guess genetics can be a factor, but also you might not take care of your teeth.
Yeah. I think we should leave who the father of the second child is for later.
Yeah, we should. Did we say that they were all killed by blunt force trauma?
Yeah. Some sources say they only know that 2 of them died of blunt force trauma, but my sources, which is the police, say all 4 died of blunt force trauma.
Yeah, Matt personally called up Allenstown Police and said, yo, I need some answers to some questions. And they give it to him.
Exactly.
Because he said, you know what, I'm on this very important podcast, which 5 people listen to. So they need the answers, ma'am.
Yeah. Just a little bit of geography. The women and children lived together in the northeastern part of the United States. They believe sometime between 2 weeks and 3 months before their deaths.
I saw that, and I'm just wondering how they know that.
Isotopes, I think, is what this video that I was watching suggested. Some of the DNA work, you can tell kind of where people live or something like that.
Okay.
I've got absolutely no idea how they do that, but
it's a shame neither of us did science.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to know how they know that, but it's they can do all kinds of weird shit with that stuff.
The thing is, I did do double science and I did do a lot of DNA work, but I can't remember any of it. It was so long ago. I haven't done science for years.
I would kind of actually really like to know in a way, because I think that's fascinating that you can know that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, don't ask us about that though. And I think the 2 to 4 year old, which we just call her the middle girl, because that's what the police video called her. It's just a bit easier that way, I think.
Middle child,
yeah. Her childhood was probably spent in the upper northeast or the upper midwest. She comes from further inland, they believe, much more northern than the other 3. That's all they really know, though, about where they come from. They obviously know that they spent some time in Allenstown. That's pretty much about it, really.
Hey, they might have come to Allenstown post-mortem. You never know.
Personally, I think that's unlikely, Lou.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll come to that later on.
Should we go into suspects? Because there's one other than the other one that we want to talk about.
Oh, are you going to mention that then?
Wait, what else did you want to talk about?
I was just going to go for Evans, because that's all I've got.
Oh, okay. Well, I've only got like one small thing and I found it on one website. I haven't found it on anything else.
Yeah.
It's a serial killer called John Edward Robinson, who roams New Hampshire. And apparently this is part of his MO.
Yeah.
Apparently there have been theories that the barrel's crime is some sort of serial killer or organised crime member that perpetrated it.
Really?
Yeah. And then some people believe that the killer was a local, which apparently he was. But that is all I've got on him. I found him on one footnote of one website.
So they think he was organised crime, so he was taking a hit out.
They think that the barrel thing, it seemed like it was some sort of serial killer, or it could have been some sort of, organised crime syndicate. And they linked John Edward Robinson as a suspect. So I don't think the police looked into him, I don't know. But the internet certainly did.
Well, there's only one other suspect, isn't there, really?
Yeah, and he's the one that we're going to actually have to talk about.
Yeah, he's a major guy for this crime.
So someone who's so major, we know very little about him.
Yeah, the name that we've got, but this is not the only one we've got for him, and it's likely not actually, well, the police strongly believe it isn't his real name, and that's Bob Evans, or Robert Evans if you want to be more precise. It's not even known when this guy's born. So the dates range from 1936 to 1952. I think the police believe mid-40s, 1940s.
Yeah, they think he was born around the 1940s.
It's suggested he may have had some possible military background. There's no concrete evidence for this, just some anecdotal evidence the police picked up. He was an electrician, general like handyman kind of thing, I think.
And I think it's a good thing to note that he lived in the caravan park near the second barrel for a period of time.
Well, also, he worked at a mill in Allenstown, I think, and his supervisor actually owned the property. So, yeah, he's got connections to this place. Also, the police believe he may have had access to the barrels, possibly, from the mill that he worked at. They haven't got like a concrete lead for that, but they believe it's reasonable to assume that it's possible. So
that in itself, I wouldn't say means jack shit though.
Yeah, it's all kind of coincidental kind of evidence that if you build it up, perhaps leads to something. As we said, several aliases that we'll come to later on. Do we mention Denise Bowden now?
I guess we should, because that's one of the main reasons that the police thought of him as a suspect, is because of his relationship with her.
What we'll say briefly is that no one actually really knows much about him until the late 70s, where he's known to be living in New Hampshire, in, I think, Manchester in particular, is it? Or somewhere. I had an address somewhere.
He had an address somewhere. I just thought he was a lifelong trailer park dweller.
No, 925 Hayward Street. He lived there between the late 70s and 1981. It's pretty much the only fixed address that we really know about until he moves in with with someone else later on in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll come to that. He possibly lived at this address with Denise Bowden. Although it's interesting to mention that in some records, there's mention of Elizabeth Evans, but very little is known whether she actually exists or whether he's just writing her name down.
I think he was just writing her name down because this was over a long period of time he was using the name Elizabeth Evans.
Yeah, because he was arrested, I think, 3 times in 1980, and at least 2 of the times he mentions Elizabeth Evans as his spouse. And mail delivered to the house was to Elizabeth Evans, but no one seems to actually know if she existed, unless Denise Bowden was going under the name Elizabeth Evans, but I wouldn't have thought so. So the property was not searched in the 80s because Denise Bowden went missing, but no one actually reported her missing until recently.
I think we should mention that Denise did have a young child at the same time. It wasn't Robert's child.
No, it wasn't. She was pregnant in round about 1981, and she gives birth, but very quickly. The baby's only I think a few weeks old. They suddenly just up and leave. And Denise Bowden's never heard from again. So,
but the family at the time, they didn't actually think it was anything suspicious because they thought they were leaving because of debts.
Yeah, financial troubles and stuff like that. Police did say they've got a little bit of evidence that the marriage was a little bit tumultuous, a bit rocky. But no one's suspicions were really raised. I don't think they were really that well known, if I'm being honest.
No.
There is a photo of Denise and Bob at a party. Denise is quite heavily pregnant in this photo, but Robert's not the father, but it's not known whether he knew that or not. So it does raise the question, when did these two meet? Did they meet after she got pregnant?
That's the thing about this whole Bob Evans character. We don't really know anything.
Yeah, we can't really provide any answers to that, but I think it's an interesting question. And I think that's one of the last real known photos of Denise, I think.
I haven't seen the photo.
I have. It's on the video.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch your video.
No, you didn't. There's been photos since of Evans, and he's a creepy looking guy.
Denise, she was eventually reported missing, but that wasn't until 16 years later when her daughter was fully grown.
Yeah, we should mention, I think her original name was Dawn, but she's now known as Lisa.
What, the daughter?
Yeah, the daughter.
Okay.
She stayed with Evans for at least a few years.
I think it was 1984 to 1985. Not 84, 1981 to 1985.
Yes, I think it could have even been as late as 86, possibly. June, July of 1986, Evans abandons Lisa and leaves her with a family that is known to him.
At a camp yard.
Yeah.
A campsite.
I can't remember where this is in particular.
It was in California.
California, yeah, that's the one. By this point, he's going under the name of Gordon Curtis Jensen. In August of 1986, he's investigated by California police, but Evans has moved on by this point. So he keeps evading suspicion. Well, not suspicion. He keeps managing to evade the police.
Yeah, by changing his name and everything and moving to a new city.
Yeah, just moving around. And there's large chunks of time when he just goes missing, basically.
I love this. Can I just read this one section from like a website I found for you?
Okay.
About his like the timeline of his life. Okay, so Bob Evans was probably born in 1943 in Wyoming. Probably. It was in Colorado until 1953 and then lived in Arizona until 1973. After that, he may have lived in all sorts of states, including Hawaii, Missouri, Virginia, Washington, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, and Quebec, Canada. He spent most of the 1980s in California, at least from 1981 to 1986. He was in Idaho from 1986 to 1988. He left Idaho in a car stolen from the town where he had been living and drove to California. There he was arrested in St. Louis Obispo, I guess, for auto theft. He was also arrested in Cyprus in 1985. He lived in Anaheim in 1984. Around 1986, he was in Felton and Scotts Valley, where he abandoned the 5-year-old girl to a family in a park who adopted her as an orphan.
Mm.
There's a lot of maybes in there, and a lot of locations, and a lot of years, and some of the years overlap.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's entirely believable.
I don't know. I think even the writer said, I don't know how much of this is true, but that's what I've got, basically.
Yeah.
Because the writer did put down probably and possibly and certain years and time frames.
Yeah.
We've got about as much knowledge as he does, whoever wrote this. Could be true, could not be.
A tiny bit more. What we got is he does spend some time in California between at least 1984 and 1986. That's what the police got concrete evidence of. He's hired as an electrician at some point under the name of Curtis Kimball in California. They know he was arrested. He was involved in a car crash. Obviously not a major one because he didn't die, but he was arrested for DUI. Can't remember what. I think I've heard of that before, but I can't remember what it is.
What, driving under the influence?
Ah, yeah. I forgot to mention he was known to be quite a heavy drinker as well. Also arrested for endangering a child and hit and run of property. And this is important because I think at some point he gets his fingerprints taken at this point.
Wait, they didn't take the fingerprints at the initial arresting when he first got arrested?
I think so. I think in the 1980s they might have done.
Yeah, but before that, I highly doubt he started his criminal career at 1980.
Well, all I know is the first arrests that we know of are during 1980. I've got no idea about before, so
okay,
we can't comment on that. So, Lisa was involved. She's the child that he's arrested for endangering. What they do know is, as you said, Scotts Valley, between January and July of 1986. That was where he was living and working. And then it's not until 1988, really, that he's seen again. He's arrested as Jerry Mockerman. And this time it's the vehicle theft that you were talking about, the car that was stolen from Idaho. But all they know is he spent time in Idaho. They don't know if he actually lived there, or they just know that he was there. So yeah, he was arrested in California, but the car had come from Idaho. And Preston in particular, I think, was mentioned. They managed to realise that Gordon Curtis Jensen and Curtis Mayer Kimball are the same person. So they know he's using different names and stuff like that. So I don't know why they weren't a bit more suspicious about that.
Maybe it's just a regular occurrence, a criminal giving out false information because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
They don't know how violent a criminal he is. It could just be a carjacking.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, it's bad, but you don't automatically think, oh, this person's a serial killer.
Yeah. We move to March 1989, where he's arrested for some warrants that had been issued by Santa Cruz, California. But I think that's to do with the crime involving abandoning Lisa. I think that's what it's about.
One other thing about his time with Lisa, she did report that he abused her in some way, but it's not obvious whether it's physically or sexually, but some people assume that it's sexually.
The police wouldn't say exactly how he was abusive, but...
Yeah, because they can't.
Yeah, from what I understood, I think it was sexual. She's very young at the time, so she can't remember her mother at all, really, from that age. But she does remember some female figure, but she really couldn't say who it was, couldn't say whether it was Denise or whether it was... And Denise is her mother. We mentioned that, didn't we? Properly.
Yes, we did.
So we don't know whether this is some new woman that's on the scene that disappears somehow, whether she disappears by choice or by someone else's hand. So yeah, he's sentenced for 3 years incarceration, but he's paroled within a year, but he absconds the very next day.
Of course.
Yeah. 'Cause,
wouldn't you assume that someone that has many different aliases wouldn't be trustworthy
yeah.
for parole?
That's what I'm saying, though. Wouldn't you be more suspicious of someone who's got different aliases? You'd think they're a bit weird, you know. Why have you got so many different names? So the parole warrant is issued under his name and under the name of Curtis Mayer Kimball, but he remains a fugitive for the next 12 years. What happens during this 12 years? Pretty much it's not known about what happened during this 12-year gap. Apart from around about August 2001, it's known that he had an unofficial backyard marriage ceremony with Yunsun Jun. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yunsun Lee, isn't it?
Jun. I've got Jun.
I've got Lee.
I got Jun.
Let's call her Jun Lee.
Okay.
Let's just call her Yunsun, actually. That makes much more sense.
We know that, yeah, that much we know is her name. So this is in Richmond, California. It's important to stress that that's not necessarily an official marriage because no actual paperwork was presented to any authorities or anything like that. So
yeah, like those people that think they're going to be romantic and elope, it doesn't work like that. You have to get a marriage license. You have to get a registrar to do it. You have to get the correct paperwork, and then you can get married. Yeah. So good luck to all you people looking to elope.
I think at this point he was working as a roofer. How these two met is that Evans, or by now he's going under the name Lawrence William Vanner. He did some work on Yunsun's roof. So this is how these two met. So they have this unofficial marriage. They're living together at Yunsun's address, and this is eventually where she will be found. In September 2002, she officially becomes a missing person, but it's not known how long before that I think she died.
I don't know. I read somewhere, I don't know where, that they were married for about 6 months before she disappeared.
Ah, so she could have been a good few months.
I don't know where I read it.
Yeah.
So that's just in my head. It might be something completely different, related to a different case, but that's in my head somehow.
Yeah, but the law finally catches up with Evans, and he's arrested in November in 2002 for the murder of Yunsun.
Oh, by the way, you're right. Her name is Yunsun Jun.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, I think I'm pronouncing it right, but you know. So yeah, he gets sentenced. Was it 15 years?
15 to life.
Oh yeah, 15 to life. Thank God. Oh, we didn't mention that she was also found dismembered.
Yeah, and the cause of death was beaten to death.
Yeah, so another blunt trauma again.
And he buried her in the cellar.
Basement, and I believe this cellar was full of kitty litter. He dies in 2010, and so far that's the only murder he's actually known to be involved with. But what's important around about this time is that some DNA stuff's taken, and there's obviously the fingerprint.
Wait, was it taken around that time?
Yeah, well, obviously, because a lot of DNA wasn't all that strong in the 80s. A lot of the DNA is important to this case. I think it's taken from the time he's arrested for Yunsun's murder.
I thought it was taken later, but that's purely because of the reveal that happened this year.
No, I think it all comes back down to this stuff in 2002. I think it's only later on it's properly acted upon.
Okay.
Because how we know that Denise was Lisa's mother is that Lisa decided she wanted to find out a little bit about her past, who her real mother was. And she managed to trace it as far back to New Hampshire. And she managed to find a cousin and a grandfather. That's what gets her directly back to Lisa. So they find out that I think it's through DNA, that Lisa's Denise's mother. And it's at this point that somehow the police, I think, know about it as well. And Bob Evans becomes mentioned. So I think this is how Bob Evans becomes part of the case, basically.
Well, I didn't think that they believed Denise was the barrel lady until after Bob Evans became a person of interest.
Yeah.
Because through Denise, they managed to link him to that area.
Yeah.
In New Hampshire.
Yeah. Because what's so important about Lisa tracing Denise is that this is when she actually, I think, officially becomes a missing person.
Yeah, because you have to have a police report filed.
Yeah. That's when the police realised no one actually ever saw her again after she moved away from New Hampshire. So the exact timeline about how they find things out, I'm not sure of. But the DNA told us a lot of things. I think we mentioned most of it about the three.
Child.
Yeah. So 3 of the bodies that were found were related maternally and 1 wasn't. We mentioned now that Bob Evans was the father of the middle child.
Yes.
Yeah. However, there's nothing known about the mother. The police have a big concern that she's possibly dead.
Yeah, because the bodies in the barrel were bad, but now you think about it, you've got Denise as well, and you've got the mother of the middle child, at least.
Yeah, that's what this police are saying. That's at least. There's possibly a lot more, but that's the only concerns they have at the moment, concrete concerns. But they believe there's possibly more. They've got no idea how many possible victims there could be here.
Mm.
Yeah, so nothing's known about the mother of this child, really, other than apart from that fact that she probably, if the child comes from the north, she probably did as well, I'm assuming.
Or he could have taken her up north.
Yeah, possibly. I'm guessing that's where they last knew of her.
Mm. I hasten to add, you should probably finish up the story of Robert Evans, though.
What else was there?
He's actually dead.
Did I? Oh,
so they can't ask him.
Oh, I thought I mentioned it.
I don't think he did.
Died in 2010.
Maybe he did and I wasn't listening.
I thought I had, but I can't remember. I was thinking it at least.
Yeah, so he died in 2010 and these announcements were made in 2017, so very recently.
These announcements were made as late as January of this year, so...
No, March, I think.
Stuff.
March, I think, was the last one.
January was, I think, the video I watched, or something.
January, I think they announced Denise.
Yeah.
Denise's connection. And I think March is when they announced Robert.
Oh, yeah. March, yeah.
I believe.
This is very recent stuff. Just to go back to some of the reasons why they suspect Bob Evans, there's this tiny little stuff like, he's got kind of connection to the victims, at least one of them, for sure.
Yeah, familiar. Yeah.
And the fact that she was found with the others suggests they believe that all of these 4 people were living together at some point.
Or connected in some way.
I think what they think they got from the DNA was that all 4 lived together at some point.
Okay.
So I think what they're kind of assuming is that Evans lived with that woman for a time. I don't know whether as a girlfriend. They know for sure that there's no DNA connection between those 2. So there's no relationship there in terms of familial.
No.
So whether she's a girlfriend or wife or whatever, we don't really know.
I find it a bit confusing because the dates that we've really been given, let's say late 70s to 1984 of their date of their deaths.
Mm.
He definitely left New Hampshire in 2000, not 2000, why do I keep saying 2000? He definitely left New Hampshire in 1981, didn't he?
He left New Hampshire in 1981, but he moves to Allenstown.
Isn't that in New Hampshire?
It's slightly, where he was living in New Hampshire was Manchester, so he moves over to Allenstown.
Oh, so he's still in New Hampshire at the time?
Yeah.
In 1981?
Yeah.
Okay. So when did he disappear from New Hampshire and go off to God knows where? I thought she had the baby, Denise had the baby in 1981 and they disappeared shortly after.
They disappeared from where they were living in 1981 in Manchester. What I think they assume is that they moved to Allenstown, I think.
Oh, okay. And then she's never seen again.
I'm almost certain it's that way around, and not that they lived in Allenstown, then they went to Manchester.
It's so confusing.
Yeah, but again, there's they don't really know a lot about it.
They really don't. I don't understand how.
It's very easy to just go, particularly if you're using different names, if you're moving around a lot. And, well, you got to remember the police departments in America. There's a lot of police departments in America. They don't all keep in contact with each other.
This is why maybe people should get fingerprinted at birth.
Yeah. Or just DNA database from the beginning.
Yeah, I know that people cry that it's against, like, their human rights. But also, I'm not a criminal and I don't really plan to be, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
The only people that should be complaining is the criminals. But even so, why should we care?
Yeah.
I do think a DNA database was a good idea, because if they had that at the time, they would have been able to connect the dots quicker.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier, I just think. Any crime.
Yeah.
Really, pretty much. But going back to your point, I think it's between 1981 and 1984. I think that's when the police believe he moved to Allenstown.
Okay.
I think what they believe is that he moved with Denise Bowden to Allenstown.
Okay, so he must have been, but they also believe that he was living with the Barrel Girls at some point.
Yeah, at some point. The girl was 1 to 3, wasn't she?
When she died, yeah.
Yeah, so they can't, if they're saying roundabout, so if you're saying that it happened round about the latest time, 1985, they were only born in 83. I've got to mention that the police believe that the girls were the higher end of the age ranges they're given. So the oldest girl would have been about 11, middle girl would have been about 4, and the youngest 3. So if you think they're kind of, if you, for the sake of argument, say they die in 1985, or at least 2 of them did, the younger ones.
Well, no, I don't think they died in 1985, because that was when the first set of bodies were found.
Yeah.
I don't think they were killed and then dumped and found immediately. I think there was some time.
Yeah, that's the time. I think he must have had some kind of connection. Where did he work again?
That's why I don't, because like it would have overlapped with the time that Denise was and the young girl. And the young girl should have remembered other kids. I know she's saying that she remembered an older woman, but wouldn't she have remembered other kids as well?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I can't remember. I forgot whether I wrote this down or not. He worked at some mill in Allenstown, I think. He basically works in the New Hampshire area, and he's got some kind of connection to Allenstown. They know he did some work on the property at Allenstown.
All I know is that he lived in that mobile trailer park and he was doing electrical work.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
Either way, we're saying it's probably not around 1985 that they died, so.
Which is what I don't understand, if they were supposed to be living together.
Yeah. So we're saying it's more likely they probably died closer to the early 80s mark.
Yeah, I think it was earlier than Denise.
Yeah. So I think it's possible he probably had connection to Allenstown before he moved there, maybe.
Possibly he moved there with the bodies, you don't know.
Ooh, that's creepy, that is.
Some people do it. I mean, he cut up his later wife and kept her in the cellar, so.
Which makes you wonder how much Denise possibly knew, in a way.
She could have known a lot, but you hear a lot about these women. Like, you hear a lot about women that apparently didn't know anything that their serial killer husband was up to. But you hear about others that are either complicit or too frightened to say anything.
Yeah.
So you never know. She could have been like a Rose West in this situation, or she could have been the, what's his name? Dennis something. That serial killer's wife. BTK killer's wife.
Yeah.
That didn't know what was going on.
I've got a feeling it may be that way, that she didn't know. I've got a feeling he was quite charismatic, even though he looks a bit of a creep. Well, it sounds like is he didn't like being alone. He always formed quite, strong relationships with these people.
Yeah, not strong enough to leave a mark.
Yeah, just kill them. But yeah, I've got a feeling he was quite charismatic. I mean, I think he'd start very nice, very early on.
That's a lot like abusive partners, though.
Yeah. So I think that's how he's getting into these people's lives. So yeah. I can imagine him convincing these people that he's completely nice.
I think Denise, she probably found something out about him, found out about the killings. Because it seems like her disappearing and the first barrel being found sort of happened at a close range of time.
Yeah.
So what if he offed her, dumped the barrels, the bodies, and then took off?
Yeah. But one interesting question that someone asked was, why did he not kill Lisa?
Well, it's kind of sick, but it seemed like he was abusing her. Maybe he was, grooming her.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Possibly.
The thing is, when he got fed up with the other kids, he just murdered them, we assume. Why not murder Lisa? Clearly got fed up of her.
Well, maybe he murdered the other children because he had no other choice. There was nowhere else to leave them. Whereas these ones, maybe the other family actually wanted to take her. Maybe they gave him money. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it's weird that there's this one kid you wouldn't kill.
Maybe he had formed like some sort of emotional attachment to her because he had been raising her since birth, and she was around 4, 5-ish, around the time that he abandoned her. Maybe he didn't know his child as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Clearly not enough to keep her though.
Or maybe he just knew that he was bad.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he had some sudden rush of empathy, maybe. We don't know.
But then again, he did still abuse the girl, so...
Killers have their weaknesses, don't they?
It's really frustrating that we won't know anything about this guy. We won't have any solid facts.
Not really. Well, I think what the police are hoping was giving out this information is that they'll slowly be able to piece more together about him.
Yeah, but these are things that happened 35 years ago.
Yeah, but they're just trying to find out anything, really.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah. I haven't got too much more, I don't think.
I think you've basically covered everything I've got.
Yeah. You did mention how much he moved around. They are, like, studying what other areas they believe he may have lived in, because the fact he moved, like, from New Hampshire to California, it's like opposite ends of the country.
So he was running.
Yeah, so whether there's somewhere in between that he lived for a little while, we don't know. Apparently he told police he spent his early years in Wyoming, but they're not too sure about that because he possibly said he lived in so many states. Like, he said he lived in Texas at one point. He said he lived in Canada at one point.
Yeah, Quebec.
Yeah, he said he lived in so many places. Some of them proved to be fake, so they're not believing too much about some of that yet. So until they got concrete evidence.
There's not really much more we can say about this.
Yeah.
Other than it's frustrating because, to be honest, I know the police have said, yeah, this is our guy. I still can't believe it, though, because I don't want to say it's circumstantial, but it is. And I know he's related through DNA, but the problem is he's not around. We can't see what his reaction is to this. And there's like no eyewitnesses. There's like no actual evidence.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
I mean, I think he probably did it, but I can't say for certain that he did it.
I think in a way it is kind of easy to say that it could have been him because
he's gone.
He's got he's got form as well.
Oh yeah, he killed someone. I forgot.
Yeah, and I don't know, he was abusive and a heavy drinker, but does that make you a murderer necessarily?
There's plenty of abusive drunks that haven't killed people.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because we're never going to be able to hear it from him.
Yeah. I think the police disbelieve, I think, because he's on the run so much as well. That what he's running from is the fact that he's a killer and stuff like that. But as I was saying, he just keeps so well hidden. Like, when he, I think, lived and worked in Allenstown, the people that he worked with didn't even know he had kids. They didn't even know he had a family.
Very secretive.
Yeah. He was reportedly seen, like, in other places, he was seen with other women, other kids. But I didn't get any concrete stuff on that.
Mm.
But
it's frustrating.
Yeah, what's amazing is, like, before late 70s, there's nothing on him.
Doesn't he have any siblings or people that would actually recognise him from his earlier years? It's really weird.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, like, because they don't really know who he is. They can't say who his siblings are, can they, really? So,
no.
He had any.
There's no one to come forward.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I think it's possibly likely he's quite estranged from his family, so they may have just forgotten about him. They could be dead by now, anyway. Or he's just an only child.
True.
So
frustrating.
Yeah, I think that's all the information we got. I wish I could have been a bit more sure on the Allenstown stuff, but
we're not actually sure on anything of Robert Evans' life, not even his name or date of birth.
Yeah, I mean, most of the concrete stuff comes from, like, arrest records.
But then even that concrete stuff, it's what he's told them.
Well, what they've known.
Dates of birth and names and places.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the concrete stuff is we know he was living around there.
Oh, okay, yeah, true.
That we know where he was for brief little periods. But apart from that, we've got no idea about this guy. So I wish I knew a bit more about the Allenstown stuff.
I love how we know so much more about the killer, well, the suspected killer, than the victims, yet we know nothing.
Yeah. I just find it a really intriguing case, though.
It is. It is.
And it does make you think, how many more could there possibly be as well?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I was just like, well, if the dates of death are from the early 70s to 1985, the barrel was found in 1985. What if he continued, but just found another dump site?
Yeah. If you seem the police correct in him being a killer, they believe he fits the profile of a serial killer as well, so...
Yeah, it's not like a lone killer. Well, obviously, if he did do the barrel murders and then he killed his wife,
yeah,
it's really not like a singular killing.
So, yeah, they're almost certain Denise Bowden's dead. That's what I should decide. Although they obviously, until they... I mean, he didn't kill Lisa, so maybe he didn't kill Denise, but they're pretty sure she's dead.
If he didn't kill Denise, there was no reason him keeping Lisa.
Yeah. Also, you'd find Denise somewhere by now.
Yeah. After 35 years, yeah, probably.
You'd be able to
find her.
catch her somehow.
But actually, there are some people, sometimes you hear about stories about people that have just walked out of their lives and resurface like decades later, saying, yeah, I'm alive, it's alright.
Yeah.
I never understand those people. I mean, I have thought about doing it, but I've never had the balls to.
Yeah.
It happens. But I think she's dead.
There was interesting at this press conference that I was watching with the police. One of the questions was, what about the fathers of these kids?
Yeah, we don't know if it was one father or multiple fathers.
Yeah. Also, what someone was saying was either the woman was like a single parent or something like that, or maybe he killed the fathers.
Possibly. Well, maybe, but a man like him, I think he's the type of person that will go for women or children.
Yeah.
Ones that he can control and overpower.
Yeah, that's what I think is more likely, but it does beg an interesting question. What if there's like more victims? Possibly
or
male
why
victims?
didn't the fathers report them missing if there are fathers out there?
Yeah, it's either fathers who've completely gone for their lives.
Which is just sad in itself.
Yeah.
That the fully grown woman didn't have anyone to care for her, neither did the children.
Yeah. I do feel sad for those kids, so not their whole life ahead of them. They end up dead.
Yeah.
But that's
the
murder.
Creepy restoration pictures.
Yeah. I don't think they're creepy.
Maybe it's because I know they're dead, but I think they're a bit creepy. Especially child number, 1 second. I think it's middle child, the one with the dark hair.
Oh, Bob Evans' kid.
Yeah, I think that's the middle child one. The photo I'm looking at. I think she's even more creepy because I recognise her from somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
She's still alive.
She seems familiar to me. And I don't know where from.
Yeah. It was weird. She was like even from like that photo, she's the odd one out. When you think
she is. But actually, she has darker hair like her mother, well, the adult. Yeah. Whereas the other two have lighter hair.
Yeah.
But then again, if the other two have lighter features, I have trouble believing that Shay are the Native Americans' daughters.
It can be your face sometimes, not necessarily colour.
Maybe. Maybe. And I think she's more likely to be an aunt, so more of a distant relative, but still familiarly related.
Yeah, I see, because I read that it could possibly be mother on Wikipedia, but the police, I didn't get a sense they believed it was the mother.
No, they think that it's either, it's someone familiarly, I can't even say the word.
Familiar.
Someone familiarly related to them on the mother's side.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting to know who they are.
Really would.
I know it's just a name in a way.
I would as well, but to be honest, I don't actually think we're ever going to find out because Bob Evans is dead and he is the most likely to have killed them. And as it stands, it doesn't look like anyone's looking for these girls. Yeah,
I think also the problem is, I think the police are saying they've pretty much got the most they can out of the DNA they've got.
Yeah.
And because, like, they're saying, I think from the woman, DNA's degraded so much they can't really get much at all from that.
Yeah, I mean there is only so much you can get. Yeah,
I think they've been dead too long to really. You might just get a name, but I don't even know much about them.
Yeah, and if someone came out and said, "Oh yeah, no, that's my wife or my daughters," I don't actually think I'd believe them at this point. I was like, "Where have you been the last 35 years?" Wait, how long has it been? About 30 years, 32 years.
Yeah, if you're going on when two of them are found.
Yeah, I say that because we know at least they were gone at least from then.
Yeah.
So where have you been for the last 32 years?
Yeah. It's not going to reflect well on you, is it?
Me?
No, not you. If
The person that has not given a shit for 32 years and decides to come out and say, yeah, no, that's my wife and kids.
yeah, it's a really weird case, though, isn't it, this one?
It really, really is.
It's just, I think this is weird how he can go so hidden. Like,
I know. How does that happen?
yeah, I don't even think they probably went to school or anything like that, because I'm pretty sure, I know schools are big places, but I'm pretty sure someone would remember them, like a teacher or anything.
Yeah,
If
they
fellow
must
kids.
do.
I think they've got moved around with him a lot.
Maybe it's a family of the Benders or something.
The who?
The Benders.
Should I know that?
I don't know if it's well known or it's something that I know. Let me just Google quickly, because I don't want to say as matter of factly what the Benders are if literally no one else apart from me is going to know. Okay. They're known as the Bloody Bender family. They're a family of serial killers. The span of killings were between 1869 and 1872. And they have 11 known victims. Yeah, so someone that I know, apparently. Not you guys.
Where was that from?
It's real. It's in Kansas.
Oh,
it happened in Kansas.
Ah.
So there were 4 members of this family. John Bender, Elvira Bender, Kate Bender, John Bender Jr.
Wow. That sounds creepy.
Yeah. Apparently, John and Kate were supposed to be the son and daughter, but some people believe that they were actually married.
Ooh.
Either as well or instead of being son and daughter. Who knows?
Nice. Lovely that one is. It's not near here.
So yeah, maybe he came from a family of benders. That's what I meant.
Maybe he did a bender, yeah.
Anyway, I don't really think there's much we can do about this.
Yeah, I've got no more, so...
I had no more a very long time ago.
Yeah.
So I think we can bid good day.
The only other thing I would say is watch the video of the police conference. It's got it's got most of the detail that the police got, so...
Okay. What, is this the one that happened this year, yeah? The press conference? Okay.
Just type in Bear Brook murder and it's got the police conference and it's got the information in if people are interested, so...
I think people should be interested.
Yeah.
By the way, they got like an episode and a half because we talked about the Bender family.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think they should pay us this time. We should get a tip.
Yeah, you're getting 2 for 1.
1.5 for the price of none because you don't pay for this.
Yeah, bastards.
Maybe we should set up a Patreon account. You can pay us 1 penny an episode.
Yeah, bitches.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we can probably say bye because there's really nothing we can say anymore. Everything's done.
We can't solve this one.
We can't solve this one and we will never solve this one.
Yeah, we don't even live in the same country, so...
We don't, so we can't actually do proper research. We can't go to Allenstown, New Hampshire, look around the site, gather all our evidence and DNA molecules that we can test in our laboratory, because Adult Seduction have enough money for a laboratory.
Yeah.
Why am I saying it so weird? Laboratory.
In the lab. Just say in the
lab.
Yeah.
So we take it back to our lab, the Adult Seduction lab, and then we put it in the adult processor and that assess everything that we've got. Even though we put it all in the one bag, we don't even separate it into little evidence bags.
Yeah. We're really not built for that kind of thing, are we, really?
We aren't. We Google and we read.
Yeah.
And we watch. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we can do.
And then good listeners listen to us.
Yeah. If it involves me leaving the house, I'm not doing the research. Unless it's me doing the research at work instead of doing work.
Yeah. What we should do is we should go to a graveyard and find a person and just tell their life story.
Okay, but we have to make sure that they died a really, really long time ago.
Yeah, and we can make up something about them being murdered. It'd be great.
Yeah, and like the listeners wouldn't realise what we're doing because the person isn't famous.
Yeah, nobody cares about, someone who's not famous.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so then we'd be satirising celebrity culture then. I'm not sure how.
We'd become a satire of ourselves.
I know. I think we should go before we have any more good ideas.
I really do, because we are actually giving out great ideas for other people that want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast, I mean, not podcast.
Yeah, we should stop with the good ideas.
Yeah, let's stop. Let's keep all the ideas to ourselves.
Yeah.
Anyway, goodbye.
Au revoir.
Bye.